For most people, the space beneath the bonnet of their motor car remains strange and unexplored. Now, I'm not suggesting that you share my unbridled enthusiasm for all things internal combustion, but knowing how to do just a few simple checks under here could not just prolong the life of your car, it could make the driving experience a whole lot safer. So there are 4 things under here that we're going to be checking on a weekly basis. That's right, a weekly basis. Even if the car is sat on the driveway, if there's a leak, if there's something that's wrong under here, it's still going to be losing fluids. And that's what we're talking about, fluids. The most important one of which is the oil, because that's the stuff that stops all of the hot bits of metal rubbing against each other and going bang. So how do we check the oil level? Well, it's not a standard issue thing here as to where you'll find the oil filler cap. On some older cars, it's right there on top of the engine, not on this one. Here's the oil filler. That's where the oil goes in, of course. But how do we check it? Stick your finger in? No, we've got a dipstick. Make sure the car's on the level, on a flat level surface. So, we'll wipe the dipstick clean so that you can see the indicator marks. There's a minimum and a maximum here on the dipstick. Put it back in again. Make sure that it goes in all the way. Pull it out again and check the level. It should be between the minimum and the maximum mark here on the stick, and could do with topping up. So that's not a problem, as long as we know what kind of oil to use. It doesn't matter who made it, just make sure it's the right grade. You can damage the catalytic converter. If you use diesel oil in a petrol engine or the other way around, all sorts of things can go terribly wrong. Make sure you use the right grade of oil. Always use a funnel. If you get oil on the hot parts of the engine, your car will smell so bad. Really, use a funnel. Different cars need different amounts of oil in the engine. So the best thing to do is just put a bit in and then go back to the dipstick. See what the dipstick tells us. Right, let's check the coolant. Here's the header tank for the radiator. It's not like the old days when you would directly top up the radiator. There's a header tank here, and helpfully, there's a warning symbol here on the top of the filler. Obviously, when the engine's been running, the water in this header tank is going to be hot. It can be almost boiling hot. So you do need to be very careful. Only really check it before you set off on your journey when the engine's still cold. So, there's a marker here. There's always a marker on these header tanks. It's just beneath the maximum, well above the minimum. That's fine. And by the way, it's not water that goes in here. Again, that's the old days. Pure water can rust lines, rust metal fastenings. Today, we use coolant in there. It's designed to withstand the hottest summer, the coldest winter. Don't put water in the header tank. Brake fluid is something that also has to be checked. That's why the car makers give you a transparent header bottle here and a filler cap there in case you need to top it up. The difference between maximum and minimum on the brake fluid is tiny. So you need to have a really good look, and I can clearly see that it's, again, just beneath the maximum, above the minimum. Brake fluid's fine. Now, the job you'll do most often, particularly in a British winter, underneath the bonnet, is to fill the washer fluid tank. You should do this with the aid of a funnel. You should use the recommended washer fluid that the manufacturer says you should. You can get this stuff diluted or you can get it undiluted. Get the proper stuff, get the screen clean. If you can't see through the windscreen, you can't drive your car. I mean, it's not like you can reach round on the motorway and just keep wiping it with a cloth. Well, promise me one other thing. When you are filling up the washer bottle, don't just put water in it. It won't work in the summer, and in the winter, it'll freeze solid. Get the proper stuff, guaranteed to -20, which should be all right for at least the south of England. Of course, checking all of the fluids and liquid levels and making sure everything's in just the right place is all part of the service at a Cooperative Motors Group service centre. They service all makes and models and do a free 25-point check on any car that's brought in for a service or an MOT. Enjoy your driving.